YouTube. All right, so now I'm streaming on both, archiving on YouTube, streaming on Twitch, and now we go over here, and I can see that's working, so that means that we're at least running. Yeah, that's a beat drop. This is Space Cowboys beat drop guy, if you're ever interested in, oops. It's a mix that I'm particularly fond of, but there's a bunch of them on here. Space Cowboys is a music collective out of San Francisco. They go to Burning Man in a Unimog that's been modified so that they can just drop a party wherever they want to go. And I feel for them, because when you buy a car like a Unimog, you need an entirely different set of tools in order to keep it running. You can't just use a truck jack on that thing because it's a military vehicle. The jack point is super high in the air. We had a friend who had to stack railroad spikes before his truck jack would even touch the thing. So yeah, they take the Unimog out into the middle of the desert and they unfold it, and it's a giant stage and DJ setup. And so there's one particular 8-ball that does very poppy kind of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. The music's a lot of fun. The one that I typically go to is the chill mixes that are on there. DJ Deckard does a really good chill mix. But friends of mine have played on their Ripecast. People that I know in Philadelphia who do music stuff. Autofill and activate. Autofill and auto find and activate. Probably should update this software, huh? Why isn't it letting me hit the button? What? I'm gonna close this. We're gonna maybe open this up again. Social Stream Ninja is going weird. There it goes. Now you've got YouTube. Bada bing. You know, I wish those showed up. I gotta fix that at some point. Some of the emote adding plugins, I think Frankerface doesn't work. All right, we're not really doing Lynn stuff, but I do need to evaluate my timings on this, because I think it's a me problem and not an it problem. I have the other switch coming in from Ingerland. It's been passed off to package carrier after package carrier. I do think it's probably going to get here on the 11th of next month. I don't think it's going to get here anytime soon. I had my hopes up because it said, we're about to deliver your package. And I was like, wait a minute. Why is it one message behind? My thing is one message behind. I have a weirdo question. Is diabetes different from in summer versus winter, like symptoms-wise? I mean, it depends on if you're not getting enough vitamin D in the winter. You can have sensitivity issues, I guess. Oh, the reason I missed that is because I was restarting. Yeah, that's right. That's why. Oh, is this not? Switch Twitch session default, pop out, auto activate. Hold on, let me just do a quick little test. Okay, that is working. It was just because I had the program closed briefly. Yeah, so is diabetes different in the summer versus the winter? I don't think so. It's an activity thing. You know, it's like, it's not different. You're doing different stuff. You're in the sun more. You're more active in the summer, all that stuff. Sweating poses a particular hazard on adhesives on the body, so. Is the keyboard running CAN or Lin Bus? It might be able to be honest. It might actually be able to. Yeah, you guys, it's all working. It's all good. QMK is pretty configurable. This is what I've done to the keyboard. So I added a Pico Pi and I soldered into the pads of the old microcontroller. I'm pretty sure there is an effort to reverse engineer the code 10 keyless microcontroller, but what I did is I added a bunch of actually very slow analog muxes. These are really slow because they're analog and they're old. I probably should have added new digital muxes, which is something that I would like to do. Well, actually, what I'm going to be doing is putting just the RP2040 chip down and I'm missing one pin. There's one pin that I need in order to run everything that this keyboard does. I could probably drop the screen because I don't really see the screen doing anything for me, and that would give me enough pins to run the whole thing. Hey, I'm here to answer questions. It's why I have chat. If I get like my ideal number of viewers, which is somewhere around 300, I think I would like to shoot for, and then I could potentially sort of rip the cord from having from the health insurance that I have to actually paying for it. I could probably manage that, maybe, with that many people. But like getting to that number has been impossible for me. But if I get there, chat will be moving much, much faster. So right now, we're just having fun chatting. So that's why I'm here. Oh, WTF is from Scotland. Hey, Scotland, that's a good reach. That's awesome. Happy to have you here. Yeah, the keyboard's gross. We're just going to clean it up a little bit. And then I need to work on the other side where there's an OLED screen. It's one of these little Jim Jams you can buy that run text. This one is disgusting. This one's been on my desk for way too long. It kind of got rolled around under stuff, and I think this is the one with the bent pin. Yeah, I've got a different color screen that I could potentially throw at this thing and see what it looks like. This one didn't do too well. I think these are yellow, which in OLED, yellow looks pretty good. So we could maybe throw this guy on, and it needs to be low profile. And I've got kind of a plan. I've got kind of a plan of how we might be able to implement a little socket that doesn't take up too much room, but that takes in the wire wrapping wire that I'm using. Because the wire wrapping wire is important because the screen wires go through these vias that are just barely large enough for two wires to fit through. Over on this side, they just come out of like random vias, which I probably should have, instead of doing it this way, I should have used these to locate the plastic block, because that has to line up to the opening in the front. And at some point I'll reprint this in smoked plastic. I have a combination of clear and black that makes a nice smoky plastic that is better for being able to see things and having them blend in. Although the best thing to do here would be to have a cutout where the text is and then put something on top of this, something like a clear screen on top of it that was glued down. That would be a little better, like a piece of glass. I had a piece of reflective glass that would have shown text behind it, and I tried to cut it and it blew up. It wasn't quite the right thing for my purposes. So, playing my jam. The music? or tips on desoldering keys. What'd you solder your keys to? Shouldn't they be on a keychain? Sucker didn't work. I used the sucker. I had an electric sucker on these. When you do suck the solder from these, you got to wiggle them with the soldering iron a little bit to try to break the surface tension that the solder that's left might have. Desoldering braid, I don't know if that would remove enough. It would probably leave the surface tension stuff still. So, I mean, like, I don't know if I would use Chip Quick. A big soldering iron, of course, to get the whole thing really, really hot. And if you did, Chip Quick's too expensive for a lot of buttons. Basically, solder sucker and wiggle it a little bit, and I think that might get you there. It's very frustrating. I know the pain. But when I did the whole keyboard, I used the electric solder sucker. If I had thin enough smoked acrylic, that would probably make a good thing to put down as the window. I could put 2 pieces of double-sided tape on either side and then just throw the acrylic directly across that. I just don't have the material on me, and if I order it, it'll blow up. It'll probably blow up in transit. They're not particularly gentle with stuff that I order, so if I order something that's like supposed to be clear, I would hope that it's packaged well. It'd be better if I could steal it out of something, and I'm trying to think of stuff that I have that has a little screen. What would be perfect is if I found an old dumpy pocket calculator. Those typically have a glass screen over the LCD, and then I could take that glass and I could put it down there. That would be somewhat ideal. And then I could redesign the plastic to look a little better. Be more of a bezel. Bevel. Yeah, but I don't have anything on hand. I'm not going to break something apart either. That we 3D scanned the front of the keyboard for so that it would fit flush, because my cutting left a little bit for desire. There's some funkiness. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh yeah, we're still in super zoom in mode. We should back out a little bit. Let's lift this, hopefully without disconnecting the really terrible USB port. I tried hot gluing it and that didn't do anything. Did not do anything. I was hoping that the hot glue would give us a little bit of an advantage, but nope. I tried to cut it square, but I failed. I put it in the milling machine because I didn't trust myself. So it did really well in one direction, but then in the other, the end mill went a little bit too far. So we 3D scanned it, and I was able to make a little insert that mostly fits. Looks like it leaves a little bit of a gap right there. I could probably get around that with some UV glue, but I need to print this in more of a smoked finish. Because you can see through this thing, but yeah. Old office phone or a calculator. Yeah, something like that. There are little acrylic panels and all kinds of that technology, and we seem to have moved on from that. So all the stuff that I have access to in my shop, all the stuff that's falling apart, does not happen to have a screen like that. Maybe at some point I'll run into something. What happened to chat? Oh, chat's frameless on this, that's right. All right, we're gearing up. I'm gonna get some cleaning supplies here. I got Windex, I need Q-tips, I'm gonna need, I don't know if I want to use those wipes. I don't like the way they smell. We might get away with just using Windex on this thing. We're not gonna totally clean it. If I really wanted to, like, super get clean, I would take it apart and put it in the ultrasonic cleaner and just let vibration do my work. But we will scrape it off a little bit. Probably have to use some dental tools on it. really get in there. Why is your keyboard bleeding? Have you been flossing? How are we doing today? Not too eventful of a Thursday. Spent a lot of time with the dog. Did I miss the nasty keyboard yet? No, we haven't even started yet. That's why this thing's up. You're getting cozy with a blanket and you need coffee in order to undo that. Go get coffee. I'm gonna start for a little bit here. I'm just getting my ducks in a row. Oh, paper towel. I'm gonna need some paper towel. We're gonna at least get a little bit of a wipe down on this thing so that I can sleep at night, so I can face myself in the mirror and say, you did everything you could to not be completely disgusting at your keyboard. Yeah, we're talking about things that might contain like a little acrylic screen that's big enough that I could cover over the window for the LCD. Because this 3D printed thing it's all well and good. I would rather have like an interface over it. I tried to like hide it by 3D scanning the hole and then 3D printing just a little translucent cover, but it's not clear enough that my 3D printer cannot do crystal clear. I don't know how I would be able to do crystal clear. I can brush epoxy over it and then like UV resin over it, and then that'll clear it up a little bit. But I wanted it to blend in a little bit more, and it would be cool if, well, even smoked won't really do it. So if I could drop a piece that was exactly the right size over top of this and just have that acrylic and maybe chamfer the edge, and then that would look okay. What I do is use overhead projector foil and bezel for my displays that I spammed your Discord with. overhead projector foil and bezel, but I don't, I need like a plastic. I think I need like a solid material. Even my plan of putting a slice of something over top of this, it might be misplaced because when I hit the button, I might hit it and feel it. And I don't know. This is the only place that I could find to put a screen. And one day, maybe if I had my stuff together, if I had enough viewers and I had enough revenue coming in, I could actually finish the CNC project. And I would like to get something like burl wood and actually machine this out of wood, like a nice wood that I could stain. There used to be a suggestion that you could put your keyboard in the dishwasher. I know that's a terrible idea, but some keyboards, it seemed like it worth a try. Yes, and actually you could. And the reason you could was because the switches on the keyboard were membrane switches, and that is not to be trusted. You remember, this is the internet. Never trust anything on the internet, but membrane keyboards have a big rubber membrane on them. And if they're built right, which I don't trust, then it's possible that water wouldn't get in. And so the dishwasher with its repetitious, spraying of stuff on the keyboard can, unseat a lot of the that gets all over it. But you know what? I wouldn't trust that. And especially in a mechanical keyboard, hell nah. Because you've got an exposed circuit board on the back, and then you've got these buttons that potentially could get moisture inside of them, which is really, really bad because it's nothing in there is really meant to be weather resistant. You put like light machine oils inside of that to keep it lubricated. So yeah, no dishwasher here. The ultrasonic cleaner, you'd have to pick everything apart, put it in its own basket or plastic bag, put it into this ultrasonic cleaner, get it clean, get it out, get it oiled, and limit the amount of water exposure that it could potentially get. But I'm not going to do that either. We're just going to clean this thing off and continue on. This keyboard soldiers on. This thing is a zombie. It really should not exist. It's led a tortured existence, and I should probably try to find a new keyboard at this point. But I do like having my own thing with QMK on it, and having the processor up here instead of down there means that if I spill stuff on this keyboard, it still functions, which is why it got so gross. Yeah, it would destroy the, actually, namely what really happens if you get electronics wet, your more smart electronics will die because moisture will get behind the crystal. The crystal's exposed to air. It might look like it's a sealed can, but there's a little hole in the bottom of it so that it can breathe. And that apparently affects them when they get wet. I don't know what you do about crystals in an ultrasonic bath. I've seen people put circuit boards. It's like Rossmann will put circuit boards in an ultrasonic bath, and those are Apple circuit boards. They're covered in crystals. What do they do? I guess maybe they still work if they're dried properly? I don't know. What I'm saying could be misinformation I'm learning. I've run mine with crystals through the ultrasonic and they've been fine. So maybe I am wrong. I'm willing to admit that. According to my Discord, everything I say is wrong. That's been a trend lately, is whenever I say something, somebody goes, no, I'm smarter than you, bother. It's like, all right, shut up. The older big ones, because the crystal has a lot of room to be shaken loose. I suppose so, yeah. I see. So surface tension kind of keeps the water out of the smaller ones. Or they're a bit more sealed. Depends on the cleaner. I see, I see. That's probably where mineral spirits are not a good idea. This thing, working on keyboards sucks because it's all through hole. And so if I brush my hand on this, it's like a cheese grater. Ugh. I gotta stop working. I gotta not work during the intro. I've been champing at the bit to actually clean off my disgusting keyboard. I thought crystals were not good for ultrasonic as well. I think stand-up crystals, like your 2-pin, the old school 2-pin barrel crystals that are like just barely like holding themselves up, are probably bad on ultrasonic because they'll wiggle around and their leads will get brittle. The ones that are glued down, if this elastic can survive ultrasonic, but I think, like Chad is saying, I would kind of trust that older designs are probably larger and the cleaning substrate will infiltrate much better. Crystal work upon vibration, RF, us prob within range. Huh? Yeah, I don't, you know, YMMV, I've not cleaned stuff in the ultrasonic other than plastic. Overhead projector foil display. Let me take a look. Let me take a look at this. Let me take a look at this image. Oh, it's disgusting. Oh my God, of all the filth on the internet, that is just the, ugh. Is that a foot? Is that a foot that I see? Or is that, it's like an organ of some kind? Ugh. Anyway, this is what Tomatolicious says. That looks awesome. That looks really good. That's a very retro, late 80s tech, late 80s DIY. And I do appreciate a character VFD, the vacuum fluorescent displays. Noritake Itron, Noritake is our go-to here. We love that company. There are others, but they look so good. They look so good. I had a drinks fridge that has a smoked glass front, and behind it I put one of these Noritake displays. We eventually upgraded it so that the Noritake display, character display, is in the tap handle on that fridge. I installed a like a beer serving setup, which I kind of got to resurrect. We need to figure out what software that thing can use now, because it's got some pretty old stuff, and I don't have the thing running on the server that'll run it anymore. It was connected to Fermentrack, where I would do the HERMS, the indoor electric brewing, and then I would be able to set a temperature profile for the carboy that would go in the fridge. And so an offshoot of that was that after everything had been brewed, repackaged, carbonated, I would then be able to put the corny keg, which is a smaller, it's like a quarter keg, or no, an eighth of a keg, I don't know. Anyway, that goes in that fridge, and then that fridge is just a refrigerator. Before I got the dog, I would kind of hole up in this office a lot more than I do now. Now I have a dog, so I go see the dog. Willow has had many, many both psychological and physical benefits on my well-being. Also, she's a very cute corgi. This thing's cool. I like it. I don't know if I have any project boxes like that anymore, but I've got one of those slanted ones. Where did that go? That is somewhere in the wings. Oh, it's way up. No, that's the other one. I haven't had anything to go in it, so I haven't used it for anything, but it would make a good little control panel. The box is printed? I don't see any seam lines. That's pretty good. It looks like an old school project box. That's cool. I wanted to try that new bump mesh. Yeah, that looks good. I really appreciate it. So 3D printing on this channel, 2016, I'm out here with just a couple friends watching, and I'm vilifying 3D printing. I say, I hate 3D printing. I'm not going to do it. Twisted Sister says, hey, I had an old wooden 3D printer I could bring up to you next time I'm up from Virginia. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. We like fly drones or something. And that never happened. But that threat made my moderator at the time go, oh no, we shouldn't get him a 3D printer then. We'll get him some other stuff. And so the other stuff they got me was the Louis Rossmann hot air station with the 45-degree angle nozzles on it and a couple other cool things. And this has paid dividends. This is probably the best thing that has been sent in here, even though Mahalo runs them for their money sometimes with the wish list items are super cool. But this thing has increased my capabilities. It was very expensive apparently. But that's the Louis Rossmann hot air station with the 45-degree angle nozzles. Now, what is it, Bother? What the hell were you talking about? I was talking about how I would vilify 3D printing and say, we're not even good at 2D printing, and yet we're trying to print in the third dimension. Since 2016, 3D printing has come a long way. I haven't, but I basically said, wow, you guys got me all these cool things. I'm going to spend my money now and make good on the thing that you were going to do. So I bought a Creality CR10S, and I've been struggling with it since. What it did, amazingly, was allow me to take designs that I knew how to like cut myself, but I could just print them and things fit, which is just insane. just being able to put together a control panel in CAD. You don't even need like fancy parts. I typically do things a lot more visually so that it looks cool on stream. You know, we have the design and it looks a particular way, and then I print it and put it together and we have the exact same thing. That's cool. You don't have to do that. You can just measure where the holes would be in a panel. You can print the panel for pennies on the dollar. It just costs time. And then magically, all your shit fits in it. It's insane to me. I come from the old school place of drilling all four corners, and your drill bit walks all over the place. And then you have to saw your way down to the next hole, but that line is off by a little bit. So you take a file and you file it down, and then your file slips and you have a flat spot, and it just looks like this grungy square. And then your panel barely fits into that square. Something's pinching it on one side, it's loose on the other, until those snaps grab onto the panel, and then the bevel on the panel hides all of that terrible work that you've just done. 3D printer, it done, perfect, factory. I fear getting a 3D printer because everybody tells me about the bed calibrating issue and issues with the nozzles and all kinds of crap I don't have time for. When you get to a particular status, I personally call it Control P status, which is where my printer's at right now. I haven't turned it on in a month. If I go over there, turn it on, and get it talking again, I can hit Control P and I know how the material is going to stick to the bed. It's going to print. It's going to look a particular way and be a particular dimension. You get there through calibration, and the calibration can be annoying, but there are things you can follow. There's a print guide here. If you ever decide to take the plunge, that if you follow it to the T, you will get a nicely tuned printer that will be able to get results like this, right? It just takes a little bit of work on the front end, and once you understand the types of problems that you can have in the situations that you put yourself in the designs that you put to the printer, and the limitations that the printer then you can get results like this the first time. You can say, I want this, that, and this, and I got to be careful of this. But it takes a little bit of work up front. But getting to where I am right now, I am no longer panning 3D printers for being bad. They are extremely crazy good. And especially in the rapid prototyping and crazy projects realm, they do wonders. I'm actually warming up to 3D scanners. I was able to scan my face and modify a set of shooting glasses. We'll call them safety glasses, but I use them for guns, to fit my enormous Dutch nose, my huge, giant chocolate Dutch nose. Oh yes, Lederhosen. But anyway, my heritage being what it is, I have a giant nose, and so modifying the bridge of those safety glasses makes it so that I can actually wear them. I need to modify it a little bit more, though. It needs to kind of hold on to my nose a little bit more. They kind of slip. But then again, when you put Ear Pro on, they get pinched by the bridge. The bridge is like flat on these. They're like ESS optical ones. But the problem that I'm actually having with them is that the prescription insert like moves a little bit, and so the pupillary thing changes, and so it doesn't look right. I think what I need to do is just start that whole system over again and buy they have a different type of insert that has a border on it, but I don't like to have a border on my glasses. You can see that I don't have one here. I can still see the border of the lens, but it's just off into my peripheral vision, and I think these are going to be scrunched down so I'll still see the borders. Supposedly the friend of mine that has them says they're fine, so I should look into that. I'll do that in the near future when I have funds for it. Haven't looked into scanners in a very long time. You're at about $300 on something that's really, really bad at scanning, but if you give it the right circumstances and you do things just right, you can get enough of a scan that you can find all your datum points on and then design something three-dimensional around with pretty good success. We scanned the lenses of the safety glasses. I put painter's tape on the lens, and then we scanned it, and I scanned it on a field that is essentially, I can't get it, if I get it out, all of my recycling will fall over. It's one of these corrugated plastic like signboards that's black, and I put all the little locating dots on that. So if I put something on there, the scanner will see all the locating dots and be able to sort of get its position. It uses accelerometers and frame interpolation and all that stuff in order to figure out where it is and where this object is. It uses a point cloud like the Kinect. We tried using the Kinect and it didn't quite work right. I would like to use a Kinect as a webcam, But the problems with the Kinect is that it needs a lot of power because it's got a lot of very powerful like lasers and stuff in there that have huge heat sinks. But the Kinect was really cool because we had a point cloud that was oh bother talking, and we were able to move the camera angle to a camera that didn't exist. It was a place that doesn't exist. How are you looking from there if there's nothing there? And it was just using all of the data of what I was doing. It was really cool. Very cyber. If you lose or gain around 20 pounds, your pup distance changes. What is that? Wait, what? Pup distance? What is that? Bamboo's pretty plug and play. Yeah, they're a little closed off though for my likings, but I'm a freak. So most of the people using it, like, you know, your super fast mats out there, are like, I don't know what our 3D printer, but I can design something in CAD. And so they hit Control P, Bamboo printer says, let me handle it, yo, I got this. And it'll just print it. And they go, wow, look at all this technology. But like for me, I'm like, wait, can I put a laser distance sensor in this thing? And they go, no, you can't do anything with it. And so I'm like, I don't want that. That said, I have been like, hey, Bamboo Labs, it me, oh bother, you want to maybe send me on printer thing? And they didn't reply. So that's what always happens. I would love to be sent cool stuff by companies that want to advertise their things. I'm not cool enough. I am too much of a worm. By Kinect, you actually mean an Xbox Kinect. Yes, by Kinect, I mean the Xbox Kinect. The latter one, actually the earlier one and the latter one have different advantages over each other, but we did go to the trouble of buying both, and they were pretty cheap. The only problem is it needs 12 volts in order to function. And I wanted to modify mine with USB-C because I think it would actually be able to get the right thing. It doesn't just give you a mesh, it gives you a variety of stuff, but it generates a mesh through its software. I think you can change the softwares that you want to use. The one I have is the Creality one. It's done pretty good. It's done pretty good. Hopefully you'll get there someday. I hope so. The line does go up. The line has been going up. It's barely an incline, but it has been going up. So I'm happy about that. As negative as I sound about numbers, I'm playing into it and just being funny. We're doing okay. So what are we saying? Hold on, I'm trying to reconcile what Wheezy said. Oh, if you lose or gain 20 pounds, your pupillary distance changes? What? I just got these glasses. They were expensive. Oh man. Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind. Damn. Yeah, it affects everything, doesn't it? That's shocking to me. I've been in the same boat, says Tomatolicious. Nah, I'll just cut this myself. I'll use a project box. I don't need to print stupid trinkets. 4 years later and you have two printers running almost 24/7. Yeah, we've figured out printers pretty well, huh? If only we did that with two-dimensional printers, copiers and whatnot. Snapmaker has a spin wheel on their site. I want a mini original zero cost only entered by mail. Well, that's neat. I don't think I would be that lucky. I was that lucky once. One time I was that lucky, and it was for this milling machine, not all the modifications that I've done to the milling machine, but just the milling machine. I got through the Reddit Millionaire Makers Contest. The Reddit Millionaire Makers Contest was a shower thought where somebody said, hey, there's like a lot of, or they said, they went, tap, 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 tap. Hey, you know, there's a lot of us on this website. If everybody donated $5 to one user, we could make a millionaire. And so Reddit decided to roll with that in the Shower Thoughts sub, and they ran contests where you would simply have to leave a comment and you could be entered in the chance to become a millionaire. Now, keep in mind, if you're not a cute girl and you don't owe rent, your chances of getting people to donate out of the blue are very low. So some people got a couple $1,000s. I got $1,500. It was insane because one day like I'm on the computer at 4 a.m. and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing on the computer still? I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm like, wait, I have a PM. Look at the PM, and it's like, hey, bro, you won the Millionaire Makers Contest. You better gear up. Here's some advice. Make an anonymous account. That's where Workverb Design came from. I used the XKCD password generator to create a username that sort of vaguely sounded businessy, work verb design. Yeah, we sit around, we came up with Synergize work verb design. That's what we sit around and we come up with business jargon. That's what I thought of, and I was like, ha, okay, I'll use that one. And so I made like a donation and all kinds of stuff. I had to call up PayPal, and I got some lady. I was like, hey, I got to let you guys know that I'm going to get a lot of donations on this account. So not to like close it down because it's actually legitimate. And they were like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, okay. So PayPal didn't do shit. It wasn't big enough of a thing, but I got almost 1 Bitcoin, and I would have still been holding on to that Bitcoin and not spending it. I had almost 1 Bitcoin. It's 0.9 of a Bitcoin. 0.9 of a Bitcoin through donations from the Reddit Millionaire Makers contest. Reddit didn't always have two-factor authentication. Reddit also had comment-based donations through bots where you could do Bitcoin stuff. And so my Bitcoin wallet and stuff was linked to my Reddit account. And I didn't activate two-factor authentication. And so that night, I had 0.8 of a Bitcoin stolen from me. I was able to shut it down and activate 2FA with 0.1 Bitcoin left, which is still worth a lot of money. I don't know if this is what split status this is or what. My hard drive crashed in 2017. No idea the amount I had, what it's worth now. If you still have the drive, you might want to spend some money getting it recovered. Yeah, that was a painful lesson in activating 2FA from somebody who worked for the FBI, who had those things on your lanyard that had codes on them to really lock things down and keep them private, which is especially fun given all of the giant government email links and email leaks and stuff that have occurred, and how nobody gets in trouble for that. But if I forget a thumb drive in my pocket, I could be arrested. Wonderful, wonderful schism there between the higher ups and the peons. Anyway, yeah, so activate those 2FAs, everybody. That's a good idea to do. But yeah, that's why I have the mill over there. I won the Reddit Millionaire Makers contest. So I don't think I'm going to get lucky ever again and email a company and have their little pinwheel thing select me for a 3D printer. I've used up all that karma. Used it all up. The second time I used up all that karma is when I sped by a police officer and he pulled me over, and we had been selling solo cups for our keg at a concert that we didn't even go to at the waterfront in Philadelphia. We were selling these cups and, having a merry time. And one of my friend's friends, kind of an asshole, threw a cup of beer in my face for some reason. I don't think I was being an asshole. I don't think so. I think he was just one of these people that does stuff like that. And so I'm driving home and I accidentally blow by a cop in the middle of the night, and they try to pull me over, and I'm in a Volvo 164, which is like a luxury Volvo. And so I try to get off on a side street, and the cop eventually catches up to me. So I pull over and he's like, what are you doing on these roads? You don't live kind of. I'm like, I'm just having fun on these roads. I just like these roads. He's like, all right, have you had anything to drink? I'm like, yeah, I've had something to drink. And he was like, all right, let me see your, let me see your ID. And I didn't have it on me. It was not in my car. I forgot it that day. And he actually, after all that bullshit and me smelling like beer, he let me go. He's like, I'm not gonna do anything. Like, I'm gonna let you go. Just be real careful out there. I'm like, all right, officer, thank you very much. And at that moment, every little bit of karma that I had fizzled up. It just poof, gone. Never again. So now I drive a station wagon, and I'm functionally invisible from police in a station wagon. So absolutely ridiculous. Email Snapmaker. They're looking for more YouTubers. Well, I'm not a YouTuber. They don't understand the numbers on Twitch. They don't understand the kind of thing that we've done here, which is to partner Maker, is nigh on completely unheard of. That's why Uwo I have a particular thing about, because he's done that and he did it much better than I did. I came from nothing and I streamed on a regular schedule and had people trickle in until we were able, and Rob Oz obviously helped me with this too by rating a couple times, and we were able to cultivate enough people to partner somebody that does makers and crafting kind of content, science and makers and crafting. The science people also have their own fan base that helps them get there. But back in the day when I partnered, it was like unheard of. It was crazy. So yeah. But again, the point is, companies don't really understand how incredibly unique that was. That me having almost 100 people watching any given day was insane. It was like not something that could be achieved. I got pulled over after drumming for almost 4 hours, and they breathalyzed me, 4 cop cars, alcohol barely registered, and I heard a few cops laugh. Drumming from Dojo Drummer. I guess you worked it off? Is that what happens? That's crazy. Yeah, I could have had my whole friggin' career vaporized that night. And I wasn't even out of college yet. All right, after that story. Oh, and after the mix runs out. Let's just mute that. How's everybody doing today? It's Friday, so obviously we're not going to be paying attention to very much. I'm going to be completely I don't know. I forget what I can't even get through that sentence without forgetting what I was doing. Yeah, it's Friday. We're not going to pay attention to very much. I got to clean off my keyboard. It's been in kind of a state of disrepair for quite some time. If you look at it now, it is completely pulled apart. But listen, I was using it like this, with the top just placed over the bottom, with this thing all afray. All this gunk in it. I mean, this thing is all gunked up. It's a gunk show in here. And the tab key would like stick and the arrows barely worked. This is a 10 keyless keyboard. I've had it for quite some time. In fact, I've had it long enough that I've needed to modify it. And the reason that I needed to modify it is that Code, in their infinite wisdom, they decided to put the microcontroller down here. This is lower on the keyboard, therefore it is lower in the enclosure. Therefore, when I am sitting there with a Mai Tai and I accidentally ploop, oh, I just spilled it. Not only does it get around the keys, but it also spills to the back of the PCB, and then it works its way over to the crystal and completely destroys the keyboard. I have another one of these. It's sitting over there, non-functional. We've been working on making a flexi PCB that'll do the work of all this wiring that I've done. This wiring is basically interfacing with the old pad of the microcontroller, bringing it over to a Pico Pi, and the Pico Pi is muxing all of the different rows and columns. Code, being smarter than I am, decided to have rows and columns that were a little bit non sequitur. They have columns that go almost to the middle, and then they have rows that take a little bit of a circuitous path in order so that the home row keys, this really actually hurts because these are through holes, the home row keys that you touch the most are going to get scanned the most. Your WAS and D are going to be scanned on separate rows and columns, so they're pulled more immediately. I don't know if that's any advantage or not, to be honest. I don't really think that does anything. But that's what they did, and it made things much more complicated for us in organizing what all of these pins do. There's a lot of reverse engineers that we had to do. Forgot about Code keyboards. Must have been like 10 years ago now. I still like my Code keyboards because they're simple. They're minimalistic. Like me. They're simple like me. No, wait, no, that's not right. I'm going to use forceps to unplug this thing because it tears up my nails every time. And if I unplug this with the cables, I'm liable to rip out one of the wires. And if I unplug it and slip, I'm going to cut myself. Ridiculous. I think Code is still doing their thing. But it's a little expensive for, well, I mean, now all mechanical keyboards are expensive. Why didn't mechanical mice catch on? Why aren't we doing those? So yeah, anyway, the stupid drinks like got into this thing, and then all the grime sticks, and just every now and then it's good to just take a little bit of time and just completely clean out your disgusting keyboard. But I've got all this custom wiring work. I really put my heart and soul into this thing in order to get all of these rows and columns working. I would like, and again, do they make mice with Hall effect switches yet? I don't know. And my What's that company again? Steel Case? No, Steel Series. My Steel Series mouse, I think, is worn down to the point where it's double clicking things. So I'll go to open something, like that's on a, like you click once and it opens, you click again and it closes. I click it and it goes, bop. And I'm like, wait, I wanted to open that. It's very, very annoying. All right, old Captain tape can go. But yeah, so the mechanical keyboard thing, I mean, I basically just barely maintain this thing and keep it going. Someday I would redesign this enclosure so that it would be wood. But we reverse engineered the circuit board, and then I resoldered to all of the pins of the microcontroller, and the Pico Pi does a really good job of taking over. But because they have this weird row and column scheme, almost all of the pins of the Pico Pi would be used on rows and columns. So I actually added muxes to this upper corner so that the rows could be controlled with the muxes. You switch power to the rows that you're trying to scan. In the future, I wanted to have a Flexi PCB on this thing, and the Flexi PCB would take over the whole keyboard, and it would have an RP2040 on it. And it turns out the RP2040 has -1 of the amount of pins that I would need to do that. So I don't know what I would have to do in order to run that. QMK can be pretty configurable, so I could probably get Quick Mechanical Keyboard to actually run some kind of a Frankenstein setup. But I would like the RP2040 to work. I don't know, I'll have to think about how to do that. We did design one version of the Flexi PCB because Seed Studio has Flexi PCBs that aren't prohibitively expensive. And then all the weird tariff stuff started happening, so I dropped the project because getting circuit boards, getting flexible circuit boards became a question of whether or not, you know, like what's happening with the price. I know it probably would only be a couple bucks added on, but like nobody knew what the hell was happening. So, and it changed daily. So I'm just waiting for the dust to settle on that stuff. Mechanical mice sometimes have a problem with debounce. Oh, I would assume so. Yeah, because those Omron switches are a very well-known kind of thing, and you want your mice to be quick. You don't want, you know, the weight of something like these buttons. You want it to snap. At least that's what I understand. This is disgusting, and it's not getting any prettier. I thought I would be getting prettier. It's really, really not. This is absolutely filthy. Why? I'm using Windex. I'm using something pretty powerful to clean it. I don't think alcohol is going to save us. Maybe if we drink the alcohol ourselves. That's not looking good. I guess it's just going to look like a murder scene permanently. Oh my God. How do I get, like, I could put it under the sink. QMK is great. I made a fork that can output 8-bit parallel ASCII to talk to 1980s stuff. QMK is such a great project that docs are pretty good now too compared to like a decade ago. When I put QMK on here, I was kind of feeling around in the dark and I didn't really know what I was doing. I'd probably have a better chance at it now that I'm a little bit more familiar with multi-platform projects. I'm sort of self-taught in microcontrollers, and I took some computer science classes, but most of it has just been absorbed through osmosis. All right, so I just want to run a Q-tip on the bottom of this thing, clean it off a little bit, and then we'll actually get into the top of the keyboard where I'll do the screen stuff. All this works just fine, and I don't think there's any crap on it. It looks relatively clean. It doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with it. I'm just going to try to leave it alone, let sleeping dogs lie. But like, I can see rust on those pins, even though all the keys still work. Disgusting. They're building a neighbor's deck out there, and so there's a lot of power tool noise that you guys might not hear, and I hope you don't, but it might leak in through the microphone. The wooden deck at the house 2 doors down. These houses are very close to each other, so you might not hear it, but I hear a guy running his circular saw. Okay, feeling a little better about that stuff. Okay, that wasn't rust. It was just crap. That's not better. The noise gate's doing good work. It's also having a lapel mic that's just right up against me. So my body is kind of blocking you guys from any of that stuff. Yeah, what a lot of streamers do, and I told you guys about this the other day, and then I literally was watching, I think it might have been Buck was having trouble with this, going, oh my God, you guys can hear all this stuff, and I did not mean for you guys to be able to hear all that stuff. And it's like, you are listening to your like mixer or the OBS output that's not been encoded. It gets compressed when OBS sends it out over the internet. The best way to hear your own audio, aside from doing a little recording on your desktop through OBS, is to actually look at it on Twitch and listen to it. And I did that with some of my audio. My voice is a little too high. I probably need to tweak things again. But all that background noise is gone. Hybrid optical Hall effect. Is this Logitech G Pro X2 Super Strike? It uses Hall effect switches. How do they get it to click? Maybe they have some kind of a snapping mechanism, because the Omeron switch that everybody uses has like a snap over spring. So it's like resist, 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 click, and it makes that nice that you expect from a mouse. You probably have one of the best audio setups I've seen on Twitch. Whoa, thank you. Hey, thank you. You probably have it. Tomato has like a movie microphone, like a shotgun microphone. It's like a $2,000 microphone going into the same mixer that I have. Previously, what I had done with my audio, if I want to just toot my own horn here, I got 2 free plugins that would do compression and EQ. And I literally sat with OBS like I have it right now, and I clicked record, and then I said test, 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 test. Actually, I had a phrase that I said every time. Yeah, the face zoom. I don't think I stole that from Sark, but Sark has 2 levels of face zoom, and I should probably use that. I should probably put another button on the thing. I went through and I said the same phrase over and over again while moving these up and down to figure out where the sweet spot was, where I sounded more natural. And it took a little bit of work. I actually did audio engineering in order to get this setup to work really nicely. The thing that prompted me to do that was that when I first plugged in the lapel with no filters on, I went like this, and I heard of the hairs on my beard rubbing together. I have a buddy that does audio stuff for like TV and movie in New York, and I was just casually talking to him, chewing the fat, and I said, hey, you got any lapels? I'm thinking of moving to a lapel. And he was like, yeah, I can send you one of the ones that I have that's just extra. He sent me a Tram TR50, which is a movie quality lapel that sells for $300 retail. I got a spare one, the one Julian uses, from an audio auction place for $150. Crazy. But the crispness is also in part because I put in the time. And I've told people about doing that, and they just, I don't know, Twitch streamers are very lazy. The noise gate is particularly, not noise gate, the compression is catered to power tool usage. It tapers off a little bit at the top just so that I'm not blowing up people's houses, but we go fairly linear. So when I'm talking softly, I get a big boost, but when it gets louder and louder, it starts to taper off of that loudness so that you still get a relative loudness from the power tool, but it doesn't blow up your house. So that's sort of what those brought to the table. However, I bought a mixer, and the point of the mixer was so that I wasn't married to my OBS setup, and so the audio plugins could follow me around. And so I actually tried to get a similar setup out of the Rodecaster Pro, the Rodecaster Pro 2. It's like their podcast mixer. So I was able to sit down with this thing and actually play around with it until things sounded right. And I know that it sounds different on Twitch. That's a tube preamp. I think the tube preamp is going to go on the gaming microphone in order to give a warmth to the audio. But yeah, you guys should know that I've worked hard to have this good audio setup. Meanwhile, I'm over here at Uo's every day, and we get the full blast of the compressor whenever it runs out of air for the horn. Jesus. I would try to put that compressor in another room. That's what Flatulent Gonad did. He moved all of his, because he's got like a council flat in England, so it's all stacked vertically. So he's got a streaming setup, and then he's got wires that go vertically to an upper bedroom where all the computers are. So he just kicked them all out. They're all in a different room, which is really good for keeping quiet, I guess. But yeah, I try not to blast you guys with the sounds in here. I'm only as good as the compressor's speed. All right, so bottom of the board is clean. It's the whole thing's kind of gross, but that's a little cleaner. The top, you guys don't want the microscope view of the top. Were I to pull all the keys, I could probably clean this up pretty nicely, and that would mean scrubbing the individual keys, but I don't want to waste anybody's time. Toothbrush might work pretty well, though. Yeah, that works pretty well. So what I'm doing is I'm knocking all the stuff off of the side of the keys. By the way, when you brush, you're supposed to do little circles. You're not supposed to rake it back and forth like this. I got one of them Sonicare toothbrushes, and my dental appointments went from a bloodbath to a minor bloodbath. And the dentist was like mad at me. They used to be like, you know, you should floss. Now they're just like, oh, your teeth look fine. What the? Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. Oh, no. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. I just saw the eyes of God, and they blinked. You can see that absolute fucking hairball. Every space that doesn't have airflow in this shop gets dog hair. Heed my warning, corgis are cute, but oh boy, the hair. One time I tried cleaning my MacBook keyboard a few years ago. I broke the majority of the mini clips. Ooh, yeah, those are tough. Those are tough. I got a puller tool. I can use that. I don't really feel that I totally need the puller tool, but maybe we'll just grab it. I got a couple of them. Where do they go? There. Oh, this one was a weird tool. I forget what I was pulling that I needed this for. Actually, this might work really well on keys. No, not quite. It's okay. The puller tool will do. My teacher looked up to my PCB today with a microscope, and it was a little hairy. Yeah, you always get the hairs, and they're always beard hairs. Weirdly enough, they're always beard hairs. All right, I'll read chat in just a sec. Let me just get into this. These keys are fading, and they really shouldn't be because they're double shot PBT. They're basically the clear plastic is what makes the letters. And I like that because then they all light up. And I had to find ones with the that were compatible with the LED being in the position that it was. Yeah, I think it was some kind of a chip remover, probably for through hole, so I didn't mess up all the stuff. Can't believe I'm doing this. I should probably drop these off in the sonic cleaner. The sonic cleaner is not in use right now. And by the way, those sonic cleaners, they sound like a whole bunch of dental tools in a washing machine drum. It's just scraping, scraping, scraping. It's horrible. So look, we're going to pull the keys. I'm going to clean this off a little bit, and then we will get the screen to work. And so that'll be the cool part. That'll be the soldering and stuff. And then I'll put this back together after stream, because this is the tedium dome. I can't have this much tedium on stream, but that hairball that I just pulled out of this thing was unacceptable, and I'm starting to see some of the nastiness. You guys maybe aren't subject to this, but this is the stuff that I'm seeing right now. Ah, 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 ah. Okay. It's been a minute since I've cleaned my keyboard. Glad I'm eating potato chips. I'm glad you are too. Used to know a guy who had the whole computer in another room. He just had really long wires. Yeah, that's what Gonad does. I would probably be running like a USB extension in order to do that. And there are extenders for like HDMI over Ethernet and optical. So you could put your computer in like a different time zone, but they're kind of expensive. You can also just get a thin client and remote into your PC, but sometimes you get little delays. Very expensive VGA signal expander. Yeah, those are, they're a little cheaper now, but not much. What's up, Bothan? I feel like the picture of my last print may have sparked this. What, the need for cleanliness? Let's see. Oh, found a trace that was accidentally cut and it was smaller than 0.1 millimeter. No way to spot that with an eye. Your traces are too small. You know, the CAD program will make you think things are huge. You open it up in your CAD program and you start designing it and you go, wow, this is enormous. I really could make things smaller to save space. And then you order the PCB and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Everything's tiny. Yeah, my keyboard definitely needs a clean. Yeah, every like year, once a year is probably a good interval because it'll get like this. Don't be like me. Why are you not unsnapping? I'm trying to not lose all this stuff as I... Oh, wait, that goes forward and not up. Good work, good work. And now there's a little tiny plastic piece somewhere on the floor. I meant to change the type of balancers that this thing had, but it would have been a little bit of machining work. One thing that I really would like to do with this keyboard is to make all of the buttons into sockets so I could just pull the whole thing. Yours is worse than this? Oh, God. Yeah, because these are, I mean, this Code keyboard is old, and it doesn't have any of the cool new mechanical keyboard technology stuff going for it. But I don't have the budget I used to. Burn the Subs is not active. So I'm not going to spend money on a keyboard when I could just clean the one that I have. Dedicated switch sockets. Yeah, they're kind of expensive. I was thinking I could come up with something on my own. Because either solder in a pin header, but that wouldn't be flush with the board. I don't know. Mil-Max sockets, yeah, I've heard of those too. Yes, I know, BTS mentioned. Ugh, it's like a hairball. Oh my God. Oh dear God. It's a combination of both beard hair and dog hair in the keyboard. This will be cathartic to have clean. Oh my God. Hey, you know what? There's no bugs. We haven't found any bugs. There's probably beard mites in it though. Yeah, this is disgusting. This is the... Welcome to the gross out factor of this stream now. Oh my God. What kind of switches do you prefer? Cherry MX Clear. Cherry MX Clear I've grown to love. I tried blues with the clickiness, and the clickiness was not good. I like my nice crisp one. I do have an IBM Model M that's sitting up on the wall. I put that up on the wall. But the Model M, man, that junk dealer guy that Julian found that we went to had a whole stack of Model M's, and they were $10 each. I should have grabbed them all because I could have updated them all to USB and then sold them on eBay for like 100. This is not nearly as gnarly as it could be. Well, maybe. I'm going to get a colander from the kitchen and throw all the keys in it and run them under some pretty hot water to clean them off before putting this all back together. To be fair, this is probably one of the cleaner keyboards. If you check some of the mechanical keyboard forums or subreddits, some people have plants growing because the switch... Jesus. Why is the control key not removable? What's happened? Hard mode, replace the keycaps from memory. I think I could do that. I think I could do that. Oh, holy, what the hell happened there? And then I'm using clear rubber bands just so that the orange light from the LEDs gets all the way up to the key. This lights up orange. It's a monochrome. There's no RGB. I think I might have been close to having a mushroom grow inside of this thing. Lost control. I'm out of control. Holy shit. So, listen, I don't live like an animal. I don't live like an animal. Yeah, the clicky switches really annoy people. I mean, just using them on my own, they were annoying, but they also, I mean, it felt gimmicky. It felt gimmicky having the clickiness. Where do I start? I do not start by hitting it with air, because then that would just distribute all of this hair elsewhere, which is not fair. I feel like I'm cleaning Asmongold's booger wall. Yeah, I'm gonna need something else. Hold on, I'm gonna go brush this thing's teeth for a little while. Oh my god. This is nasty. You can imagine what some streamers' keyboards are probably like, though. They don't do this. They don't face their own shortcomings directly and learn how horrible things are behind the scenes. You think this is nasty? Check out cell phones. Those things are worse. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to clean this stuff. I mean, the toothbrush only does so much, and the hair gets stuck in everything, and this stuff, I don't even know what it is. Oh, the ones in the office environment probably look worse than the coffee cups that have never been washed. This is horrible. I'm horrified, chat. I'm horrified. I guess we're using dental tools on this thing now. We'll use the dental scraper. What a gross modified keyboard. I mean, it's in the title. Yeah, this thing needs more than that. Okay, how am I gonna do this? You know what? Scoosh, scoosh. Get scooshed. Get scooshed, keyboard. You earned this. You know, this is a very glass house kind of stream. You can come in here and poo-poo the grossness of this all you want. IPA and a sonic bath. All the custom work that I did on the back of the keyboard would probably not benefit from that. I don't think I would like to see the result of what that would do. The toothbrush is enough to unseat some of the disgusting from this. It's doing a pretty good job actually now with the Windex. I'm using Windex, which is a very mild cleaner. The step up from Windex would be Goof Off, but Goof Off would melt all the plastic, so I'm not using it. Not using that. But the toothbrush, listen, don't look a gift toothbrush in the mouth. When the dentist gives you that little baggie and it's got that shitty little toothbrush in it, this is not that toothbrush. This is a Reach. It's a better toothbrush than that. But keep that toothbrush because it's really good at scrubbing things. It's literally its only job. And so when you have something like this to clean off, you can benefit pretty well from having a nice brushy. Brush your keyboards, everybody. You don't want to get plaque buildup like this one has. Ooh, I gotta watch that. I'm going to break the plastic. If he breaks, he breaks. He dies, he dies. It's looking a lot better. Just take it one section at a time, work your way across the keyboard. You'll be done before you know it. If you have a numpad, so help you God. But eventually, you start seeing the clean crop up, and it spreads. Whew. This is what happens when you don't floss your keyboard. Yeah, it starts bleeding. You got time to bleed, you got time to bleed. I don't got time to bleed. A lot of these hairs that are left, you guys hopefully can't see because you're only in 1080p, but a lot of these hairs that are left behind are wedged between the metal plate and the key. And these keys, I have to desolder them to remove the metal plate. Removing the metal plate and all the keys, you know, that's something that I have done to this keyboard in the past. Remove all the keys, get the metal plate, literally just wipe it off, clean that, get that all back together. But in the meantime, you can also take apart the keys and put those into a bath and then get a little bit of light machine oil and drop that on all the springs, put it all back together. And then Bob's your uncle. You've got a completely refurbished, you know, I can make this like new if I really put effort into it. This would be a mid interval clean. This is like not the big job. But I was hoping that I would be able to do that Flexi PCB project and then have that nice little PCB on the back of this thing. And then I would also have my spare keyboard, which is another one of these. When you stream, you want to have spares of stuff that will completely ruin your stream. So if I'm dee-doo-dee-doo-dee, hey, look at me, I'm streaming. Hey, everybody, look at me, I'm a Twitch streamer. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. And then all of a sudden my keyboard breaks. It's not the end of stream. I just grab the other one from the closet and continue instead of having that completely destroy my day of streaming. I do all this for 35 views a week. All of this professionalism that I know about for my dinky little unprofessional stream. Would you be replacing worn springs? If a spring is designed properly for the use that it's in, it should never wear out. Obviously, flexing metal has its shortcomings and springs do wear out in properly designed systems. But like, for instance, on like a gun magazine, that spring sits for a long time, so that's not a good example. Yeah, springs eventually wear out, but I don't think keyboard springs really are in that much danger of wearing down, given the use case and you know how the spring's flexing. I think it's fine. I would not think to replace springs unless I want a different feel from everything. And I think anybody that's head over heels trying to, not head over heels, but anybody who's trying to really convince you that you need to replace your springs might not be totally genuine. The mechanical keyboard is plagued with the fact that you can make a bit of money off of these things because everybody's got kind of a fervor behind having mechanical keyboards and having the best with the best springs, and it takes the weight of a rhinoceros in order to press down this key. I don't play into stuff like that, you know, and I think there's a lot of snake oil out there. Always be cautious of somebody that's trying to sell you something. We're making progress. It's looking a little better. I can bring you guys in a little closer. You may not want to be brought in a little closer, but I'm going to do it anyway because I put gross in the title. You guys can't see it with the detail that I do, but there's like little bits of hair all over. You can kind of see it, evidence of it up here. It clicks so harsh that it vibrates your arm. When this thing pops over, things are going to fall out of sockets. Kabam! I have hit the key. Pray that I do not hit any more. You guys can't see these little hairs that are just plaguing. There's probably also a specific species of dust mite that inhabits keyboards now. We just need the right scientists to look into it. Put some of this shit on a microscope slide. What I'm using the brush for is to break up all of the question mark that's stuck to the painted piece of metal. And once it's broken off, I can pick it up with the Q-tip. You're not supposed to stick the Q-tip in your ear, but I mean, come on, live a little. I know what you're all about. I know what you are. Dokes.jpg. Hey. None of that. We don't do that here. Clean. I'm going to need more Q-tips. Well, this has been disgusting. I don't even know what that was. It was like a piece of bread. I'm going to get more Q-tips. Got a whole big thing of them over here. No, don't drop the light. Can't quite get to it. Okay, I got it. I got it. Let's clean off the rest of this thing. Jeez. Why does it feel so good? I don't know. It's like you have a permanent itch inside of your ear. Oops. Was I? No. Still in focus. Okay. Yeah, my inner ear gets like moist, and then I'll use the Q-tip and it'll dry it out, and it feels awesome. But you're really not supposed to stick them into your ear. I had like after many years of going to festivals and raves and whatnot, and right in the middle of it all, when I was in DC doing the festivals and stuff like that, I decided to see my primary care doctor. And actually, there's a story behind that. I finally got a primary care doctor because I was going to try out for a TV show that was like a reality TV show that had engineers doing crazy stuff. And I didn't make the cut by any means, probably not even close. But in order to fill out the application, I had to have a primary care doctor sign off on, you know, like medications you take and psychoses that you have and whatnot. Medical information that I guess was volunteered because they shouldn't have to have that. Well, anyway, point is, my doctor was taking a look, the primary care doctor, and he's like, hold on a second. And so he goes to the back and he gets a bunch of stuff, and he has sort of a pad and a little thing to squirt with, like a syringe full of probably hydrogen peroxide. But anyway, he pulled a plug out of my ear that was like the Shrek candle. He pulled a plug of earwax out, and he's like, do you use Q-tips? And I'm like, not often, but apparently I must have been saving my own hearing, even though I still have tinnitus. It was probably the in-ear IEMs that did it to me, but I had a plug of earwax in my ear. I could hear fucking sunlight when I exited that doctor's office. I could hear everything. It was insane. So to this day, if a supermarket has those teenager alarms out front, they bother me. I can hear them fully. If I did in fact go and become a school teacher, I would have been the most annoying class for the people who try to text and have the teenager frequency alarms, the ones that adults cannot hear because our ears damage over time and those little hairs that detect it would have worn down. Mine haven't. So I got really good ears, but I also still have tinnitus, not tinnitus. I've been over that with you guys. I don't need to keep going over that. These look relatively good. These still don't come up fast enough. I think I need to like get a little bit of stuff in them. There's still oil in them, just a little tiny bit. So all this is doing is washing it out a little. And I might have to take these apart in the end. They might have to come apart to really get in there and get whatever the hell got into them out. It feels okay though. We're not sticky. Nah. Oh my god, that's so much better than it was. Holy shit, look at all this. Ew! Disgusting! Ugh. Ugh. Okay, I'm throwing that out. Does anything help you with tinnitus? There's a thing that you can do where you flick the back of your head. That helps. Those co-QAnon things on TV will claim that they help tinnitus, but like last week they said they help you with your memory. So they clearly don't know what there's a little star on the ad, and if you're on a big TV, you have to walk up to the TV, and if you look at it, it says not proven by any kind of medical science. They're like, take Rohypnol. No, not Rohypnol. That's not. No, what is it? What is it called again? Turmeric and shit like that. They're like, take this stuff and it'll help your tinnitus, and it's like not proven at all. Yeah, it's just blatant snake oil on TV these days. We don't have anything that cures or helps tinnitus. The flicking in the back of the head thing is supposedly you do like a thing with your fingers or you kind of flick the back part. I don't know what that does. Rohypnol probably helps you forget. That's not good. I don't think we have anything that does anything for tinnitus. You just have to kind of let it pass because it's always there. I have a very, very slight awareness of it right now. But if I continue on my day and I don't think about it, then I won't really hear it. And then sometimes it gets really, really bad. And you just hear ringing and it's like, well, I just have to move on because it's driven people insane before. And it's something that is just going to be there and it'll wax and wane. And so you just deal. It's just one of those things because I'll be sitting here in the middle of the night and hear the ringing. And it's like, is that a power supply or is that just my ears? I have a fan going right now, so that's helping me. Having white noise in the background helps. You kind of raise the noise floor above where the ringing is. Yeah, as long as it's not silent. My grandparents lived in Center Sandwich, New Hampshire, which is a dirt road town in New Hampshire. It was remote. It was awesome because you could go cross-country skiing when it was snowing. So you're in the middle of the woods, which for audio is really great because there's a lot of stuff for sound to reflect off of and go away, and snow. And snow actually makes a noise, and I've heard it, and it's loud when you're in that scenario where there's literally no sound, there's no reflections, nothing. You can hear shh of the snow actually falling and accumulating. Crazy stuff. But nowadays I hear ee, so it's not quite the same. Crazy town though. All right, so I want to clean some of this circuit board that's here because it's kind of disgusting. I think the majority of whatever the hell I spilled got here. Now, this looks weird over here. The reason that it looks weird, I have a little 3D printed riser, and I used blue tack, which probably was not the best thing to use. But what this does is it holds up one of these OLED, this one's gross. It holds up one of these OLED screens so that the text is centered. Now, the text on the OLED screen is over to the side. The screen is over to the other side. The pins are, this is like an asymmetrical nightmare. But I was able to get it to line up. And see, there's the row of components. That's why I have those cutouts in the 3D print. So this fits in a particular way. Although, between screens, the distribution of those components can kind of change. So that's kind of a, yeah, like there's a whole new row of things that I didn't account for. Huh. I don't know which screen it is. I guess we'll use the one that actually has all its pins, because that one broke off. Blue tack can do everything. Outing yourself as a Brit. I guess I'll peel the screen. I don't like to, but that's going to get dirty now. I can just replace it. These are only a couple bucks. And then we have to reinvent the plug for this. Oh, it's still gross in some places. So let's lift this up and then I'll just clean around it. Splurt, splurt. Cannot stand this to be dirty. Yeesh. Picking up a lot of stuff, man. It's these human interface devices. The human in the room is filthy. Always. They got skin flakes coming off of them and shit. Disgusting. I I feel a lot cleaner with this thing having been spring cleaned. Yeah, fine as long as it's not silent. Ads like that wouldn't be allowed here. I wish they weren't allowed here. But, you know, they can claim anything they want. So, black, red, blue, white. From the bottom up, I need to make a note of this. You'll just get it dirty again. Go make your bed. I know your bed is unmade. Go make your bed. Okay, so screen like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if it's this way, then it goes black, red, blue, white. There we go. Okay, so now I got the order of the pins. If you don't cover your bed, you never have to make it. I knew it. Did I not call that? All right. So now what I want to do is make a plug. You can see what I tried before was using ultraviolet glue in order to make just like a little wire holder. But we need to go get pin header and we need to test something out. I need to test this out before I try it with my own setup. Yeah. Ooh, ew, ew, ew. Get it out of here. There's all this nasty shit. Nasty. Disgusting. All right. I'm going to try to use pin header, and I'm going to try to layer 2 pieces of pin header, the plastic from one and the pins from the other. And that way I can make a little thing that has the wire wrap wire going into it. Making your bed keeps the stuff in between where you'll be clean. So all the dust and the filth doesn't get everywhere else. I don't know. Just go make your bed. Don't be a slob. Don't be like me. No, my bed's made. Minimally. Let's see. This stuff will fit, but then we've got the back end of it over the edge. But I think that's what I want to use. Is this? It's the most plentiful type of pin header that I have. Don't try to argue with me about making your bed. Like, what is this? Are you a toddler? I don't want to make my bed. Jeez. Just throwing the duvet cover over roughly count. If it better, because that's what I did. Just throw it over there, and if you want to get real fancy, tug on the edges so that it's smooth. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm thinking, is lop off the ends. These don't fit. Because when that thing sits in there, let's hold on, bring this back over. Where'd the screen go? There it is. With that little bit of spacer, it's real close to the bottom. You can see how close to the bottom it is there. So what I'm going to do is it's basically going to be 2 more rows of headers, but I'm going to solder around the, don't mind all the hairs that are in everything. I'm never going to get rid of those. I could spend 4 hours trying to get these little hairs out. You go under the duvet. What are you talking about? No. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with filthy Twitch viewers. Go talk to Asmongold about his rat alarm clock. You guys can find common ground. I'm not gonna sit here and argue about why you should not make your bed. What is this? What is this? We're adults. Jesus. I'm going to mark this in my Twitch weirdness calendar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lop off the pins and then wrap the wire around that and then put this back on top and sandwich it in. I think that'll work. and it'll give it a little bit of strain relief. Maybe. I'll try it. All right, I'm gonna bring you guys back up here. We'll use the microscope, and these need a bin. I think I have an Amazon box I can throw them in, and then I'll transfer them to a colander where I'll use the hose on them. All 104 keys or whatever. Yeah, I mean, letting your covers air out a little bit between sessions, probably not a bad thing. Keeps them from smelling, keeps stuff from growing in them. Probably should clean the whole thing so all of this goes too. Just have to make sure that it gets to the right places. I have extras. These definitely need a good wash. I'm not going to use the ultrasonic on them because I don't want to set that up right now. I'm just going to throw them into a strainer and wash them like a dish. Why should I do the dishes if I'm just going to eat food out of them again? Answer me that, streamer. Ooh, why are we cooking? Careful now. I ran out of biscuits. Dun, dun, dun. All right. No, towels are not single use before they're washed. You use them 4 times before you wash them. 4. Depending on the towel, obviously, and depending on what you use them for. I don't have separate towels for face or butt. You just start at the top, work your way down. Towel forgets everything by the next day. 4-pin header. It's like washing a car. Yeah, you go from top to bottom, and you never speak of your sins. Get a little bit higher of a focus here. We get to do soldering. Hooray! So obviously these full height, they won't fit. So I lop off the ends. I'll probably put those under the file. I have a micro file, sizes and everything. That. Let me take this. Smooth. I cast smooth. Once only, but 1 towel for everything. That's a lot of laundry. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of energy. And by the way, I'm not, listen, the routine that I am was profligating. The routine that I'm talking about right now is for somebody who like works in an office. It's not for somebody who's like out on the like on a farm or a mechanic. Like that routine is going to be totally different. All right, so that's the plug. Now we need to put wires on the plug, and this is kind of our experiment here. So I'm going to get just a random old wire. I've got wire wrap wires that sit on spools up here. Spoolio. I still need to 3D print little guides for all the wires on this because these get kind of disorganized. It doesn't clamp it down as well as it probably should, and I should probably just have like a little thing that guides it so that it's a little bit more resistance on it. What, 7 towels a week and then you wash all your towels? I forget to like wash my towels for months. Of course, I've got a bunch of them. It's probably about 7. And like, I'm not gross. You guys know me, I'm pretty well put together. So, I don't know. Some of it might be a little overkill, you guys. Where's the microscope? There it is. I was looking for it on the Stream Deck because I'm a little further away from the computer. I bought these specifically to try to do this with this wire. This wire wrap wire we've used on a lot of projects, especially when I'm like putting something on perforated prototyping board, which is the semi-permanent, usually permanent, design pathway to a circuit board. You do the solderless breadboards first. You move it to perforated prototype to get all the kinks out, make sure that it works in situ, and then you move to a printed circuit board. That all depends on what you're building. Sometimes the perforated prototyping board is just fine. But when I build on perforated prototyping board, I use this wire wrap wire, and wire wrapping does not use solder. So the jackets of these wires will melt almost immediately while you're soldering, especially if you go like this. If I were to heat up this wire with the soldering iron, the jacket of the wire wants to straighten itself out again, and the wire would just cut through the jacket. Yeah, there's nothing more permanent than a temporary fix. If they don't find you something, they should find you handy. Red-green quotes. Anyway, so I bought this specifically to try to facilitate cutting these. I would typically heat up the wire with the soldering iron and then pull on the end in order to expose it. So I'm trying these tweezers out. They're okay. It's a bit of like a feel. You have to get kind of a feel for it to work properly. So it'd be something like this. And I think I need something to hold on to it while I'm working. Hold on. One sec. Let's get the vise over here. I'll focus the cameras in just a second. I think we're a little bit claustrophobic right now. Oh, that was as far out as we can go. Okay. All right. So got that like that. So if I come along here and put the wire through like this. Now keep in mind, I'm going to have to do that with the keyboard right here. And then I'm wondering if I can wrap it around there and get a good connection. I'll probably have to solder it though in the end. So I was watching this quick little video thing of a surgeon practicing on a grape. Or no, it wasn't a grape, it was a water balloon. And they were able to, with a water balloon, it was basically 2 water balloons and then filled with water. And they were able to open up the outside water balloon and resuture it without damaging the inside water balloon. And I was like, where do I get these tools? Because like, we're kind of doing that right now, aren't we? This is very kind of like surgery, and I could really use those little manipulator arms. So if I did that with the 4 wires, I could either solder that and then just count that as the plug, in which case this will probably break right here. Yeah, the grape one was remote with a robot. The one that I watched, he had these complicated manipulators that went from a pivot. So you were kind of pivoting them around and manipulating them. I want those tools. They're probably tens of thousands of dollars. But wouldn't it be cool if I had little grabby things and one of them had little scissors on it? There are also forceps that you can buy like that I was thinking of getting, seeing if I could play around with those. I'd probably have to solder that. And then the reason that I did 2 was that I want to pop the insides out of this one. Can I do that with these pliers? No, these pliers won't let me do that. How can I pop them out? Do like this. Owie. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let's get this out of there. It's in here. Now I can just push down on it and it'll butt up against the vise. Push down with what? Let's see. try maybe the pin tool, press it enough. Okay, pin tool is getting further and further away from me the more I try to get it. Got it. That's not a good push down tool. For what? Everybody shout. Ta-da. Cool. I'm trying to make something that's going to last slightly longer than what I had there before, which is essentially what I just made, which is this. Let's get this back in the clamp here. So I don't think this will do quite what I want it to, but just hoping. Ugh, okay, well, hold on. See, I was thinking I could then come in here with this, and since that's expanded a little bit, it would provide me with something that, something that clamps over the wires. Because yeah, that fits really loosely right there. And there might be just a little bit of extra room for wire, and then I could drop something like UV glue into the 4 little holes there, and then I would have the wire exiting at a right angle. But the wire is going to have depth, so I don't know if that's really going to do anything. I don't know if that's going to work. If I cut a little hole for an ant to hide, nature's candy in my hand, or can, or pie. If I cut a little slot there, maybe that would allow the wire to exit. What would I cut it with without blowing it up? Heat up a piece of wire and just drop it on there. That would make a nice little trough on the thing. I could try it with the X-Acto knife, but one slip and I go through the whole thing. Files are too big. They're way too big. Do I have a triangular? I do, but I think the taper on the triangle file is going to be too much. Yeah, I don't have a triangle version of the micro file. I have the big triangle file, but that's too big. Too huge. Well, I guess the knife it is. I just gotta kind of work in a little section. But this stuff is so fragile. Obviously, it'll be good once I get UV glue in it, and then it just becomes one thing, but till then. This is very small work. Watching the surgeon do the micro suturing with remote tools while being far away from it was really cool. We're kind of like that. We're kind of like that. I could make $1 million a year doing that if bodies weren't so gross. Oh, okay, bye. No, it's right here. Yeah, I was saying I could probably heat up a wire and try to melt the notch, but I don't think that's a great idea. I don't think that's going to have good results, clean results. I can just widen that a little bit with a knife. You guys are seeing exactly the same thing that I am. So if this looks like it's really fiddly and small and hard to figure out, it is. It very much is. Oh, it's a lot, Natsu. It's a lot. Because yeah, that needs to exit a little bit more centrally. I want those surgery tools, man. Those things are so cool. This doctor was just messing around with them in his house. Although he probably has like $1 million to spend on that kind of stuff. If I wrapped it tighter, it might fit, but I don't think it's fitting right now. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. That whole end split open too, you know? This would be nice and clean though, if I could get that to do its job. Just clamp it down like that and then glue it, and then I would have the 4 wires would exit like that, and it would make contact, and then I would have this nice little plug for everything to fit into. I don't know if I'd even have to solder it. I think it would just make friction contact. Although then you get the glue in there and maybe it might not contact. But then all the wire is still bending on the outside here, so I'd probably have to still put UV glue. It's just going to be a big mess. What do you think? Think I should try it? So I mean, I got to cut 3 more of these, so let's start cutting. Also, is that a corgi cheering me on? That's awesome. Oh, there goes the diabetes muscle thing again, where my finger tries to straighten itself out in spite of my trying to flex it. It's when I'm gripping tiny stuff that happens a lot. It's a lactic acid buildup in the muscles. Just one of the side effects. I think I should have been a surgeon. I've got to learn a lot of stuff to be a surgeon. I probably could have learned a lot of stuff. Also, bodies are gross. So, so that's maybe not something that, but fame and fortune, you know? Of course, the little mistakes that I make here probably would be amplified in the surgical theater. You know? Probably be a little bit more extreme if I lost a screw in the OR. Oh, yeah, I couldn't find that, so I just didn't install it. Got it close enough. Actually, the thing is, close enough does sometimes work with the body, with the human body. Whereas it could be disastrous here. Oh, come on, hand. All right, hold on. Give these muscles a little chance here. Doodly 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 doo. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm not left-handed, so I don't know if I can do as well cutting with the left hand. Just try to scoop that out. Too small. What's everybody doing today? It's Friday. We shouldn't be using our brains, right? Friday is the day to clean up the shop and get everything kind of back in order for another week of craziness. At least that's what we used to do with the IED thing, is we'd spend Fridays neatening up and getting little things done. Because nobody wants to concentrate on anything. All right, so those are, for whatever it's worth, able to now take a wire. I guess I got to install this in situ. So not quite as long as that. It needs to be just a little shorter than that. No change Fridays, yeah. How am I gonna, okay, we can get this close. Maybe I can still work with it. Because I really do need the vise in order to make this happen. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. It's not close enough. Okay. I have very little wire to work with here. So I suppose I need to just cut this. I'm looking for like the tool that I'm going to cut it with, and I keep losing my... Okay, there. Where are my Nipex? Yeah, the UV glue idea wasn't as good as it could have been. Wow, they are stapling over there. I just hear psh, 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 psh. Thud, 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 thud. All right, this goes away. Go here. I don't know how you guys use blue tack when you're soldering, because solder melts the crap out of blue tack. It's the keyboard drum machine, yeah. This is going to be really annoying for me to put together, isn't it? Because I got to wrap it around this, and I got to get the pin out right, too. So it is black, red, blue, white. So that it plugs in like this with black, red, blue, white. Okay. So let's do these. There's a totally cursed game that Vinny was playing last night, and it is a drum game where you have sort of your drum sequencer and it was so cursed. I linked it in the Discord, but I pray that nobody thought that I was recommending it as a good game. It is a completely weird, cursed game, which I like games like that, but I can't expect everybody to be on the same page. Now, am I going to solder these? I probably should abandon putting this cover on because I don't know if it'll really work. And if I solder it, well, there's going to be a ton of like extra solder on the thing too, which will make it really annoying. Do I have, I mean, maybe I could just put the vise on top of this. It won't reach. No, it doesn't reach if the vise is there. Do I have anything resembling a vise that's smaller? Forceps, I suppose I could use. Yeah, maybe forceps will just hold this still while I work on it. Spacer would be nice. Hold on. We're trying to figure out work holding right now. Blue tack, I don't think will hold on to it enough for me to wrap a wire around it. I would use blue tack, even though I'm, talking wise about blue tack. See, like that really clamps it. And then if I can just hold it in place, then I can work with it. Actually, now the vise. Now we're getting it. Check that out. Now you're getting with it. That's propeller heads. Stuck in my head. Take California. Okay, pin tool. Let's maybe move the knife so that I don't accidentally end up with a knife in my arm. I never do that, and my hands are always like really close. I'm like, what is my hand on right now? Oh, it's on a knife. Okay, cool. All right, make sure I'm plugging this in the right way. If that one goes there, then it exits this way. So it doesn't flip like this. It'll flip like this, and then that exits this way. So if I install it going this way, I can flip it over, and that'll exit the right way. Okay. Okay, why don't you come back here? There you go. Now, if I were to solder this, I would plug something into the other end so that it doesn't get too hot and melt the plastic. And that ends up going everywhere. This would probably have been better done with like a socket of some kind, like a right angle socket that has sprung pins. I feel like I might be hurting cats with this because they're going to all keep slipping off. So I think I do need to actually solder it in order to get it to mechanically stay on. Yeah. God damn it. Stay on there, just briefly, please. Okay, now, big iron tip is a no-go. We're gonna need the normal one, I think, because I'm gonna need enough heat. I'm not gonna use a needle tip. I'm gonna use this guy. It's slightly larger. And I'll try to get in there quick. Quick. With very little solder. Turn that on. Put the solder down here. I've been using the thick solder a lot lately. We haven't done a lot of microelectronics. We really need to do some more microelectronics. I don't have anything plugged into this. Well, we're just going to go. Just like that. Now that's locked in. Locked in, but again, you see that the jacket has receded a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to avoid that. I don't think so. We're just going to have to go forward with this. And then maybe I can put like a dollop of UV glue that'll just kind of provide slight strain relief. I need to grip a little further down on my forceps. Hold on. It needs to stick up just a little bit so that I can lower these all the way to the bottom. The more I flex this, the more terrible that connection is going to be. It's going to start flexing around there, and that'll eventually break. And then I'm back in the situation I was in before. To be fair, I should probably find stranded wire to do this, because stranded wire will flex and crimps and all that. But I did this in the easiest way possible, which means wire wrap wire. Now, actual wire wrap requires a square post, because on the corners of the square post, the circular wire will push in and actually deform the square post. And in doing so, it provides a cold weld connection for the wire. What's going on here? Come on, all the way around, and then lock you over there like that. There we go. That actually provides a really good solder-free electrical connection. Something, something, Vietnam radio. I've said all this stuff before. You guys know this. It's how they got super high density military electronics in Vietnam. And field serviceable to boot. Well, is it like traditional that it slips out every time? Oh my God. Can I have control over my own limbs to the degree where I'm able to actually put a hoop onto a post? Or is that out of the cards? I mean, they're just violent with that stapler, man. Pow, 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 pow. Okay, so that that will get soldered, but I need my hands to be free, so I need you to stay naturally on top of this thing. Ooh, with all the while, my hands are trying to cramp for no reason other than that my blood glucose level is dropping. Not rapidly, it's just like barely moving. Go. Tiniest amount of solder, and look at how much that retracted. God damn it. It's supposed to have strain relief. Look at that. I mean, I should probably solder it when it's like almost completely wrapped, and then it'll too late for that now. Too late for that now. No, my only recourse here is to put a little UV glue on it, and hopefully it'll provide me with that strain relief. A little bit more. Better be careful. I don't want to break the wire. That's not going to make a whole turn. There we go. And if I was smart, and I did the test run exactly in the way that this was done, that would have been smarter to do. That was the whole purpose of the test run. What was I thinking? We need more light. Yeah. Nail polish. Yeah, I use UV epoxy. That's similar. Is this below the forcep or above? It's like even with the forcep. I'm making sure that I'm all the way at the bottom of this thing when I do this wrapping. Oh, damn it, I just unwrapped it. No! Why? I have better control of my pick tool. I'll never be a surgeon! Actually, I think I could probably do some microsurgery. It would take me a while to learn how to do it, but I could probably shave a grape. They got little tricks they do where they wrap the suture wire, the suture string or whatever, over the forceps in order to make the knots, and I'll probably do that. This is the grand fault of your average engineer, is they completely overthink their capabilities. They're oversold on their own gas. That turned out okay. Okay, so last one. This is the one that broke originally. I really need to figure out a better way of putting the screen in here too. Or a better screen. Different technology, I don't know. Something, because right now all it does is show the QMK logo. I don't really know if I need it to show the QMK logo. How much credit I want to give them. But you can make the screen do other stuff. It's just if you want it to do anything meaningful, like display a computer stat, you have to have a program that will communicate that all the way to QMK. So it's like an extra thing. Your keyboard can't just plug into your computer and then start doing all this advanced stuff. You need to have support for it via other programs. And so I haven't really had it, you know, I don't really want it to do anything like that. Display weather or volumes and stuff like that. I could have it display whatever key is pressed. Obviously, QMK has that information. And that might be good for troubleshooting for when I like spill something on the keyboard and I want to verify that I didn't break my keyboard. I could probably use the little key pressed thing, but I haven't programmed it to do that yet. All right, so that's those 4 connections to the screen. I don't want to harass them too much because they're pretty fragile. I mean, wire wrapping wire is not supposed to be flexed around. That will flip, yeah, and then, or I'll curly cue it and it'll go to the screen. And then behind it, oh, where's the thing? Okay, it's somewhere under the keyboard, so I've got to release this from the vise. Vise out of here. Open up the forceps without damaging anybody. There we go. It's holding it up in the air for me. That's nice. And then find the other half of the connector that I spent so much time cutting. Where did it go? Oh no. Just wasting my time. That's what we do here. Just cleaning stuff, moving it away so that I can see more of my bench and possibly uncover the secrets of where a tiny piece of plastic has wandered to in the past 10 minutes. I do not think it has found its way to the floor. If it has, it's gone forever. Here's another 4-pin header connector, but that's definitely, I haven't cut that one. There's the one that I cut. We didn't even use these. What are these doing here? Nip-X, more clay working tools. Everything has a place at the bench. And it's important because otherwise you run into this situation where I had a thing. Now I don't got a thing. Where's the thing? Where thing? Where thing? Where found thing. I found thing. It was by the solder reel, dangerously close to the edge of the desk. So just remember, there's this wet paste you can use in soldering plumbing fittings. It reminded me of paper fibers in a liquid binder. I wonder if something like just wet paper wrapped on the insulation would help prevent the retraction of the plastic. That's an interesting idea. I don't know about that. I thought at first you were talking about flux. I have tacky flux, but I didn't really need it because I got rosin core solder on a joint like that. I mean, there's a lot of places that flux is very useful. But having like I don't know, wrapping something this small in something else would be pretty annoying. I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I need these to exit the middle. So I need to just fold it down a little bit. It looks like it won't fold down because it's soldered so completely. So this might be an abject failure, or maybe I need to start the plastic over again and cut it on the sides. Let's just see if I can get this thing at all positioned. I don't even know if it'll fit over this because they're now blobs. Maybe I can put it in the vise. Actually, oh, damn it. That's really bad. I shouldn't do that. That's really, really bad. I have 2 or 3 of those, and then it'll permanently be distorted. Or rather, the things will fall off. The wires will fall off. I mean, if I put it in the vise, it might distort the plastic enough to close this thing. I don't really want to put more pressure into it. I think we leave it like that, and I put a bunch of UV glue on that side, and maybe that'll provide us with enough strain relief. Try it. Try anything. Let's get the UV glue over here. Ultraviolet glue. It's really useful stuff in electronics because it's clean, and it becomes a plastic solid pretty cleanly. So if you're trying to hold wires down on a professional board, sometimes even if you're doing professional repairs on a board, if you drop down a copper wire low enough to the board and you put a little green nail polish over it, it can look professional. But if in a pinch, if you don't have green nail polish, UV epoxy is really good. So do we have a syringe of UV epoxy going? Probably not. These usually solidify way too easily. And I may be in a situation soon where I actually need to go and buy syringes because I don't get them with my insulin pumps anymore. The ones I get are much cheaper. They're not fun to use. I'm looking through a bin full of glue stuff. All right, yeah, I need to load up a new syringe. So let me grab a new syringe. That's in another area of the shop because it's with my diabetes supplies. And that would be right here. Oh, I got plenty of these actually. Never mind, I've got a lot of them. All right. Now the thing is, I use UV epoxy so seldom that this is probably going to solidify in the syringe by the time I need it again. So these are pretty much throwaway. And this has to be kept in a plastic bag. I need to get a new UV epoxy bag or UV epoxy container because this is bad. Ugh. Not even going to take it out of here. I'm just going to do this. See, I cut this just right to fit the lure lock. So I can just do this. That's more than we need. See, this doesn't fully seal. That's the problem. I barely got it on my fingers. Too much oxygen. If I don't do that, then it gets all over the bin, and the bin gets all gross. And applicator. And this is a lure lock. You buy these non-sterile. Obviously, I'm not going to be stabbing anybody with it, but it makes a really good glue applicator because that is a tiny opening. You can cut that larger if you need to, but that's the way to go. And these are BD 3 milliliter syringes with lure lock. BD 3 milliliter lure lock. You can get them on Amazon. I don't know if you can get BD, but you can get the 3 milliliter lure lock syringe. That's the way to do it. All you Warhammer people should know this stuff. I keep seeing freaking Warhammer everywhere. Can't get away from it. All right. So right there, and then we're going to get the ultraviolet spotlight that I have. It's this guy. Seen other YouTubers with this one. I don't really know about this one. It doesn't seem like it's as bright as it could be. I don't know. It just doesn't feel that bright. And they have you press this twice just because it's apparently unsafe levels of ultraviolet. But it really doesn't strike me as being all that bright. But oh well. All right, so I'm going to try to keep this syringe away from that light source. This will be our best bet here. Oh, yeah, I should test to see that this works first. Scovert. So what I've done is I've just built up a bunch of pressure, and since there's a little latent bubbles in there, it's going to keep expanding. So it's going to keep applicating glue out of it. If you want to prevent that, you can pull back on the syringe, but you're also going to be pulling it all the way up and out. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of getting calibrated here. You could tap on the side. You could tap on the side and try to get those bubbles out like you were a Nurse Ratched, but it doesn't matter. What UV does epoxy need? I don't know which one actually, to be honest. Now I'm just barely leaning my finger up against the plunger here. It's like pressure, not distance. Just a little bit of pressure on it. You can see how it's filling up the crevasse. Kyle, fill the crevasse. Okay, and then now I'm pulling back on the syringe a little bit. I'm putting it on the notepad far away, and now double tap, UV light. And on the thermals, you should be able to see this thing start to heat up as we break whatever chain with ultraviolet light causes this thing to then solidify into a solid polymer. Cool stuff. Or warm stuff, I guess. It's exothermic. There's still probably a component of UV light that gets all the way over to the syringe, but it shouldn't be enough that it totally shuts it down. Now we just basically have to make a big mess of this area because I screwed up. I should have put the jacket of the wire further in. It would have been real schmexy if we just got all four of those jackets to go all the way into the plastic where it would have become one with all the other stuff, and then it wouldn't have flexed all the way out here. But because I'm a fuck up, I need to do this on these parts of the wires. That was way too much. It's all right. Okay, doot. Solidify. I need to put more on there. Give that a second. I'll flip it over and do the other side and make sure that I don't have weird overrun where I'm not observing it. Let's just let this really solidify. Then I'll flip it. Okay, it should be enough UV. The actual activator that you can get with the UV epoxy, the one that I used to have at the one shop, it was literally just a singular ultraviolet LED at the end of a big battery handle that you could recharge. So I was searching on Amazon and I'm like, I'm gonna get the UV Beast. That seems like it should probably do a good job. And it has, albeit it might be a little bit of overkill, but try to do this, keep the wires nice and coiled. There we are, perfect. Okay, so now I'm just gonna apply at the top here until I build up a layer. Actually, I should probably tilt these a little bit. So now I can see what we're doing. And all that overrun, look at that. I almost epoxied the connector closed. Stop where you are. I should use like a piece of tape to build a little trough at the end of that. That would have been a good idea. I should have done that. Just make like a little trough that I could fill with UV epoxy, and then it would make a nice... We're basically doing SLA printing right now. Stop moving. Stop moving. Don't you settle in. I need you to build up. All right, I'm going to call it there. I think that might provide a little bit of strain relief. It's not great, but the tape idea would have been a really good idea from the start. If I just took like Captain tape and I wrapped it around loosely, that would have been a guide for all of the UV epoxy to go in. That would have been a great idea. Oh well. Think of these things in the 11th hour. See, and look at how much I drew. I still have, what, a half a milliliter? That's like 100 units of insulin. Well, 50. That's 50 units of insulin left. That's like a quarter of a reservoir of my insulin pump. But this thing is now shrouded in plastic, hopefully with a minimum of strain relief. And it's basically going there with a little swoop-de-hoop in the cable just to give it a little strain relief, a little relief in general. And then I've got to figure out, I guess I'm going to drop a piece of VKB tape on it, huh? Just 2 little tiny pieces on each of these, because that'll really hold it on to the point where I question if it's reversible. Let's take 2 of these little guys. Even that's too much. Maybe just 1. Maybe if I just put 1 right here. Well, no, I need another one to hold it from going weird. So maybe a really thin one on the end. Oops. Yeah, that'll do. Half on the blue tack so it doesn't stick down too much. It's going to be hard to get the topping off of this stuff. I should really borrow a roll of that from work. They have the genuine 3M stuff. Yeah, it's good. Captain tape is really good to have for this kind of stuff. Comes off clean, withstands a huge amount of temperature difference. It's just one of those, you got to think about it as disposable when you're using it for rework like I am. Super glue it. I'm not gluing it down. This needs to be a little bit malleable because the screen might be off by a little when I join the top to the bottom. Give me... I've like got it separate here. It's just not peeling up. It's because these tweezers don't grip. These are non-grippy tweezers. If these were grippy, I wouldn't be having this problem. Where's grippy? I need grippy tweezers. Which one's of y'all's grippy? I mean, I know these are grippy. This is freaking forceps, but still. Yeah, see, that was much easier. Can the forceps do this? I don't know if they can. Not quite. No, they don't really have the feel for it, but it did open up the corner. Bonding to blue tack? I don't know. I don't think it will. Come on. Oh, it's so much harder to control forceps than tweezers. Just because of the grip differences. Yeah, wow, this is a little bit more challenging. What the? Jeez, that was weird. Okay. Ah, jeez, and then my arm, my fingers are trying to like fold. Okay, so the screen, and we can actually double check. Ground, VCC, SCL, SDA. So we got it in the right order by wire color. That like that. And this up against there. Press that down onto my 3D printed spacer. See, and the VKB gives it just a little bit of wiggle room. I'm gonna try to cut that end. That probably shouldn't be over the edge. It just shifted while I was working with it. So that changes the angle and it also gives it a spacer. Where are tweezers? All right. Get low. There we go. Beauty. Nice and organized. All right. Oh, that's disgusting. Why is that still disgusting? Ew. 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 Okay, whatever. We can only do so much. Can only do so much. Let's see. That little end of tape. I don't think the scissors are going to do it. It's going to be a knife job. This is an old blade, but it might still be sharp. Willow's probably getting back from getting her hair done. She's getting her hair did, not cut, just a shampoo job. We don't have the right equipment to get her dry fast enough, and she'll probably get sick one day if we give her a home bath. So when we can, we like to send her to the dog place to get shampooed off. She takes hours and hours to dry here, so as we move into summer, we'll be able to do it more often. Okay, so screen's in place. It's connected the way it should be. Now we can put the top bevel on the bottom. I wish I had like a tint tape. Tint is, it's not like taped on though. It's not like doesn't it come off like really easily? Here, we need to clean up the bevel too. I need to just take a paper towel to it and just give it a little Windex bath. And then I'll plug it into USB and we'll see the screen turn on. And that'll be the spring cleaning session for my keyboard. So in this case, oh, you guys have a concussion. Yep. Lots of this stuff. And then we'll just give this a little shakedown so it doesn't have crustiness on it. Get that shine out of it again, huh? Like new, like we were still relevant 10 years ago when I bought you. You're still good. I still haven't gotten the LEDs to work. I need to figure that one out because the LEDs were arranged like they were in the grid with all the other keys because of the fantastic German engineering that went into this thing. I don't know what it is about these companies that use every single pin of the microcontroller to the point where they're doing these weird song and dance routines in order to get just that little bit of extra out of the pinout. They always seem to do that. But yeah, the caps lock and num lock LEDs, I don't have those working. So that's possibly a use for the screen, is that I could make the screen do the caps and the num lock indicators. But these two LEDs could do all kinds of stuff. And actually, one of the LEDs is associated with the other microcontroller. That's how they had it. They had the LEDs were working with a second microcontroller as a recovery system if anything had happened to your keyboard settings. So if you totally effed up the keyboard settings and you had to revert to factory, there was a second microcontroller in here that was responsible for doing that. It's mad. It's kind of mad. 100 engineers versus one microcontroller. I see flags are up. No, you got to stop. Everybody, all the engineers are raising their little flags. They all run at the keyboard at the same time. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I want to see these clips are like gone. So this just kind of vibes together. Future Bother wants to cut out his own enclosure for this thing. Yeah, it looks like we lost one extra clip in this area. So this no longer goes together. It no longer snaps together at all. Yep, we lost one today. We lost a real one. Oh wait, I didn't put the USB thing back in. So we got to take the bevel off anyway. I need a new bevel. I need a new keyboard is what I need. We've done so much work to this one that it's like I want to keep it. but it's so gross. It's so gross. Theseus's keyboard. It kind of is. It kind of is Theseus's keyboard. Now this one has USB-C. Does the other one have that, or was that USB micro? Or did I completely replace my keyboard in order to get USB-C? I don't remember. Don't remember. The washing of the keys happens after stream, so. But we can at least test things. Oh, that's right, it goes this way. All right, so this goes in here. The plug is actually from a stepper motor. I replaced it because the other one had pins falling out of it. This nasty ass keyboard coming back together finally. Maybe it'll actually work. You nasty keyboard. Disgusting. There's like little bits of plastic falling out of it as I snap everybody back together. And then this doesn't fit right because the screen's probably in a weird way. Yeah, see that popped my 3D printout because it's misaligned. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, hold on. See, that should be able to move just a little bit up here. And that should accommodate for misaligning. No, that's not right. It's not right. It's not right. Something's going wrong. God, it's like breaking it. Oh, is it because they have the pins sticking out? No, that's there. That's there. And now this goes on top. Yeah, there we go. Now it's fitting. Also, missing the snaps in that area means that it's not really holding that area on. I guess I do have the replacement keyboard. I could take the bevel from that one and try to get it right, but that's as close as it's going to get. Ah, something popped into my thumb's numb. It's better now. Jeez. Okay, we'll just steal it from the mouse. Wait, no, I need the mouse. I need the mouse to communicate. USB-C plug. Yeah, this is the one from the microcontroller. That'll do. Okay, so plug this in. Hello? Cool. You broken, bro? Or is it not? Hold on. See, the cool thing about this is that I worked before. Ugh, this sucks. My whole keyboard's falling apart. This is Bother Gets a New Keyboard stream. Bother hauls off and buys a replacement keyboard. Why would this not work? Because this is going into the USB hub, and this is it's a good cable. It's a 250 watt cable. So it should by all means be able to work on a lower USB device. Did I break something? The screen wouldn't be doing it. We got the screen plugged in properly. I mean, this plug has been through a little bit too. Plug continuity. We were using this to program microcontrollers. Now, it is connected. I can assure you of that. I'm going to get a new cable, a USB 1 cable. Actually, I just get the keyboard cable that I've been using. Slightly shorter. Should better work. Fucking thing sucks. Play us out. What does that even mean? Should be in good shape. It doesn't like... Ah! Okay, that works. And we have Quick Mechanical Keyboard logo in the corner there. That's all it does, by the way. That's all it does. Where is the focus on this fucking... Focus on the thing. I'm so tired of having brain injuries in chat. So, like that works. Yeah, see, it's changing scenes. That LED is not happy. That is not a happy LED. I think it's LED damage. Oof. Sorry, bud. You are not in good shape. But yeah, that works because it's switching scenes. Guess that's what the arrow keys do in OBS. All my orange LEDs are working all right, except for the one. Yeah. So, I mean, we're back in business with this thing. Let's get the top on and then we can see what it looks like. Like this didn't work out that well. It looks like this. Like, that sucks. That sucks. I need a better window. Get rid of that. We'll just put the bevel back on with a big gaping opening there. See, it sits so high in this thing. It's practically level with the plastic. So I guess it stands to the reason I probably need something that goes over top of it, which will be annoying because my hand will hit that. But I think this keyboard is on its last legs, especially given that all the plastic in the corner is all effed up. All right, keyboard fixed, quote unquote. I'm gonna clean those keys off this afternoon and we'll call that done. I won't be able to get to my other computer until I clean all these keys off. So it's still kind of early, and I've told you, oh jeez, let's hiccup in the middle of talking. I have told you guys time and again that I will not drag things out. So I am going to end it all right here on Twitch. I mean, you know, stop the stream. Not like that, not that. And I gotta see if I can throw you guys at somebody else, or if we're just gonna hit the buttons, stop the show. Let me put my tools away quickly so I don't lose anything. Don't want to lose my tools. But that was just a quick little, I meant to do that the other day, but I had two things that shouldn't have taken a long time, and they didn't, but they took too much time to be done in the same stream. So it just happens. It happens sometimes. I am going to enjoy this glorious day that we're having with my newly shampooed dog that I hear upstairs. She's gotten home from the groomers, all nice and clean. She got her hair did, or rather shampooed. So I'm going to go say hi to her after washing my hands a lot. And then I'm going to throw all those keys into a strainer and wash the crap out of them. Now let's hang out. I will be around. I'll be on Discord. Let's see. I need to do the end card. I forgot to do that. So let me see. When is 27th at the latest? Maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. Maybe tomorrow, but probably the 27th. So what I'm going to do is on the admin, I got to go over here to Discord. I got to go over here to the command. I have to highlight the command. I have to copy the command. I have to not paste it in chat because apparently the Discord and the Twitch chat windows are on top of each other and I can easily click the wrong one. So 27th at the latest, that's what I'm putting into the thing. You're going to see all of my social medias. You can follow me on so many different platforms. It's basically just Discord. It's basically just Discord. I've taken my own advice and I've largely stayed out of social media these days. I had a Blue Sky. It got hacked again because of two-factor authentication. I seem to have a pattern here where maybe I need to use this 2FA or else I die. Let's watch Downtown Philly Junkie live cam. It's not, listen, Junkie live cam, it's not that bad. They love to highlight those things, that area of the city. And, you know, I walk around there during the day. I should find out where that live cam is and show up on it. You clean the lens for them. Cause, yeah, it's not that bad during the day. You just don't really go there at night because you'll stick out and then you'll get robbed. But anyway, back in 2 days, 2 hours, 9 minutes and 3 seconds. And we'll find something to work on. We're waiting for some parts. Burn the Subs always needs a little bit of work, but this tops off the two things on my desk that were bothering me the most, is that my keyboard got real shitty, and so did my audio thing. So we did the audio thing, and actually it turns out I had the exact tool I needed to remove that clip. This is like it's kind of like a flush cutter, but it's got a hole in the middle of it. It's for removing like body clips. This would have been perfect for that spring clip. I literally had it sitting on the other desk a couple feet from my hand when I'm hanging out, and I forgot it. And so we did that whole stream and I cut my finger trying to get that little ring off. I could have used this and it would have been done almost immediately. So, oh well, live and learn. We remember the tools we have once we forget that we have them. I will catch you guys later. Take care. Is there anybody else? Probably not. Let's just check. Do a little quick Twitch check to see if I want to raid all of my viewer into somebody else's stream. Germa, Tomato, Tech Smith, Rob Oz is doing Into the Radius. That sounds actually pretty good. But we're gonna go ahead. Garrick Durak is on if you speak the language. Sean Vids is doing Infra. Oh, I wonder how he would do an Infra. I didn't like Infra because there wasn't any direction at all, and you were supposed to be repairing like what is it, civil engineering kind of stuff, which was cool, but I could have used like a little tiny bit of direction because it's not, you're not sure what like infrastructure issues are programmed into the game engine. Like you see a crack on the wall and you go, cracks on the wall, that means that the concrete subfloor is starting to slip. And then you go to try to like redeem it, and it's actually not a thing because the game engine doesn't support that. Infra flips that on its head, and you see something like cracks in the wall, and that is in fact something you need to document, and it's absolutely something that you need to like take a picture of and do all that. It was a little confusing on that, and that really affected my gameplay. I really enjoyed the figure out this puzzle using all of these industrial valves and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little torn on that game. Fatinon's not around to talk about it. He loves that game. I gotta go pet a puppy dog. I'm gonna go pet a puppy dog and take her for a walk and whatever else she needs, kisses, maybe a tug of war or something like that. And then I'm gonna be on Discord, which you guys saw just now. And then going forward, we will eventually have another stream where we will work on cool stuff. Promise, I promise you. And I will catch you all later. Where's the...